In the heart of Ovim, a quiet bustling village in eastern Nigeria, there lived a girl named Ine. She was known far and wide for her striking beauty, with skin like the smoothest ebony and eyes that sparkled like the stars in the night sky. Her father was a wealthy farmer, married to 2 wives. Ine's mother, the first wife, was kind and gentle, but she was often overlooked by her husband in favor of the second wife, who was cunning and ambitious. Ine and her younger brother were the only children of the first wife, and they grew up under their mother's loving care. However, their lives were not easy, as they were constantly overshadowed by the second wife and her 5 children. Despite this, Ine remained kind-hearted and hopeful, dreaming of a future filled with love and happiness. The second wife, named Alero, was the apple of their father's eye. She was beautiful in her own right, but had a heart full of jealousy and malice. Alero's children, especially her eldest daughter Olige, were given the best of everything, while Ine and her brother were left with the scraps. It was no secret that Alero resented Ine's beauty, fearing that it would outshine her own daughters. As the years passed, Alero's influence over her husband grew stronger. She would whisper lies about Ine and her mother, further driving a wedge between them and the head of the household. Ine's mother, though deeply hurt, bore her struggles with grace, teaching Ine the value of patience and resilience. At 20 years old, Ine had grown into a young woman of unparalleled beauty and grace. Her presence was like a breath of fresh air, drawing the attention of men from near and far. Suitors began to flock to their home, eager to win her hand in marriage. However, Alero could not stand the thought of Ine being happy, especially when her own daughter was still unmarried. Alero began to weave her web of deceit, telling lies to the suitors who came for Ine. She would spin tales of how Ine was cursed, or how she was a lazy and disrespectful daughter. These suitors, believing Alero's lies, would leave without even speaking to Ine, who was left heartbroken and confused by their sudden departures. Ine's mother, sensing something was amiss, tried to console her daughter, but even she did not know the full extent of Alero's treachery. The suitors' rejections weighed heavily on Ine's heart, but she refused to give up hope. She continued to pray for the day when she would find true love, someone who would see beyond the lies and love her for who she truly was. Unknown to Ine, her prayers were about to be answered in the most unexpected way. One day, while returning from the market, she met a young mechanic named Ifechi. He was humble and hard-working, with a smile that warmed her heart. They struck up a conversation, and before long a deep friendship began to form. Ine's encounter with Ifechi, the mechanic, marked the beginning of an unexpected friendship. Ifechi was unlike the suitors who had previously sought her hand in marriage. He was humble, gentle, and treated her with genuine kindness. They often met by chance as Ine returned from the market, and each time their conversations grew longer and more meaningful. As the days passed, Ine found herself looking forward to these moments with Ifechi. He listened to her without judgment and never asked about the wealth or status of her family. For the first time, Ine felt truly seen and appreciated for who she was, not just for her beauty. But little did she know, Ifechi was hiding a secret of his own. Alero, ever watchful and cunning, soon noticed the growing bond between Ine and Ifechi. Though she knew little about the mechanic, she immediately disapproved of their friendship. To her, Ifechi was beneath them, a poor, insignificant boy with no prospects. In her eyes, he was not worthy of even speaking to Ine, let alone marrying her. Fueled by jealousy and disdain, Alero began to devise new schemes to drive Ifechi away. She spread rumors in the village, painting him as a troublemaker and a thief. She even tried to convince her husband to forbid Ine from speaking to Ifechi. But her husband, too busy with his own affairs, paid little attention to the matter. Despite Alero's efforts, Ine and Ifechi's friendship only grew stronger. They found solace in each other's company, sharing their hopes, dreams, and fears. Ifechi admired Ine's resilience and her ability to remain kind, despite the hardships she faced at home. Ine, in turn, was drawn to Ifechi's honesty and his unwavering determination to make something of himself, despite his humble beginnings. One evening, as they sat by the riverbank watching the sunset, Ifechi finally gathered the courage to confess his feelings to Ine. With a heart full of hope and nervousness, he told her how much he had come to care for her. Ine, touched by his sincerity, realized that she had fallen in love with him too. They both knew that their love would face many challenges, but they were determined to stand by each other, no matter what. Meanwhile, back at home, Olige, Alero's daughter, was celebrating her engagement to a wealthy suitor named Okoro. Okoro was a man of great wealth and influence, but there was something unsettling about him that Eni couldn't quite place. Despite her reservations, she kept her thoughts to herself, not wanting to upset the family. Alero, on the other hand, was overjoyed. To her, this engagement was proof that her daughter had outshined Ine. She boasted about the match to everyone in the village, flaunting her daughter's good fortune. But beneath Okoro's charming exterior lay a dark secret, one that would soon turn Olige's life upside down. As the days passed, rumors began to circulate about Okoro. It was said that his wealth was not earned through honest means, and that he was involved in fraudulent activities. At first, Alero dismissed these rumors as mere jealousy from those who envied her daughter's good fortune. But as the wedding day approached, more disturbing truths came to light. One night, the police arrived at their home, arresting Okoro on charges of fraud and embezzlement. Olige was left devastated, her dreams of a luxurious life shattered in an instant. The news spread like wildfire, and the once proud Alero was left humiliated, her plans for her daughter's future in ruins. With Olige's engagement in tatters and her reputation in the village tarnished, Alero's jealousy and hatred towards Ene only intensified. She blamed Ene for her daughter's misfortune, convinced that her stepdaughter's beauty had somehow cursed Olige's future. In her desperation, Alero began to concoct even more elaborate schemes to ruin Ene's life. She sought out local herbalists, hoping to find a way to cast a spell on Ene or drive Ifechi away. But each attempt failed, leaving Alero more frustrated and bitter than ever. Meanwhile, Ene and Ifechi continued to grow closer, their love blossoming despite the challenges they faced. Ifechi knew that he could not keep his true identity hidden from Ine forever. He had always intended to reveal who he really was, but he wanted to be sure that Ine loved him for who he was, not for his wealth or status. As their relationship deepened, he felt that the time had finally come to tell her the truth. One evening, as they sat together by the riverbank, Ifechi took Ine's hand and told her everything. He revealed that he was not just a poor mechanic, but the son of the richest man in the state, a man who owned vast estates, businesses, and properties. He explained that he had chosen to live a simple life to find someone who would love him for himself, not for his money. En was stunned by Ifechi's revelation. She had fallen in love with the humble mechanic, not knowing that he was actually a wealthy man. Her feelings were genuine, but now she wondered if their relationship would change because of his true identity. Would she be able to adjust to a life of luxury and wealth? Would his family accept her, a girl from a modest background? Despite her fears, Ene's love for Ifechi remained strong. She realized that his wealth did not change who he was, kind, hardworking, and sincere. She assured him that her love for him was true, regardless of his wealth. But she knew that their journey was far from over, and that they would have to face new challenges together. Word of Ifechi's relationship with Eni soon reached his father, Chief Okechukwu, who was known for his strict and traditional views. Concerned about his son's choice of partner, Chief Okechukwu decided to test Ine's sincerity. He wanted to be sure that she was not just another girl attracted by wealth and status. Chief Okechukwu invited Ene to his estate, under the guise of a casual visit. However, he had arranged for several tests to see how she would react to different situations. He watched closely as Ine interacted with the staff, how she responded to the luxurious surroundings, and how she treated those around her. To Chief Okechukwo's surprise, Ine passed every test with grace and humility. She was kind to everyone she met, regardless of their status, and showed no signs of being overwhelmed by the wealth around her. She remained the same humble and sincere girl that Ifechi had fallen in love with. Chief Okechukwu was impressed by Ine's character and realized that she truly loved his son for who he was, not for his wealth. He gave his blessing for their relationship, knowing that Ifechi had found a rare and precious gem in Ine. But he also warned them that not everyone would be as accepting, and that they would need to stay strong in the face of adversity. When Alero learned of Ifechi's true identity, she was furious. She had worked so hard to drive away all of Ine's suitors, only to discover that Ine had found the most eligible bachelor in the state. Her envy consumed her, and she decided to make one last desperate attempt to ruin Ine's happiness. Alero spread vicious rumors about Ine, claiming that she was a gold digger who had only been after Ifechi's wealth. She also tried to sow discord between Ifechi and his family, hoping to turn them against Ine. But her efforts were in vain, as Ifechi's love for Ine remained unwavering, and his family had already seen through Alero's deceit. With Chief Okechukwo's blessing, Ifechi and Ine announced their engagement. The news spread quickly, and the entire village buzzed with excitement. Everyone wanted to be a part of the grand wedding, which was set to be the event of the year. Even those who had once doubted Ine began to see her in a new light, recognizing the strength and sincerity of her love. Preparations for the wedding began in earnest, with both families coming together to plan the ceremony. Ine's mother was overjoyed, finally seeing her daughter receive the happiness she deserved. Meanwhile, Alero seethed with anger, realizing that her plans had completely unraveled. The day of the wedding arrived, and the entire village gathered to celebrate. The ceremony was held in the grandest hall in the state, with lavish decorations and a feast that would be remembered for years to come. Ine looked stunning in her wedding attire, and Ifechi couldn't take his eyes off her. As they exchanged vows, it was clear to everyone that this was a union built on true love and mutual respect. The joy in the air was palpable, and even those who had once doubted their relationship couldn't help but be moved by the sincerity of their love.